Hey, how are you, kids? It's DiPaolotics for the next hour. And that'll be it for the week. I might as well thank the people now that made this possible, because I'm not going to remember, me being the selfish dick that I am. But Jack Vaughn and everybody here at Sirius, thank you so much for letting me do this and piss off a lot of you listeners.
What about Andy?
That's Colin Quinn, by the way.
What about Big
my
Dan?
co-host. About who?
Dan.
Dan who?
Him.
That's
The other-
Andy.
No, him.
Oh, Dan over there. He doesn't. He got me water. Big fucking deal. No, I said everybody. I meant everybody. That's Colin Quinn, the creator of Tough Crowd and SNL fame. You know him. Dancing with the Stars. What else? Nat
yeah.
Geo. You had a 1 hour special.
Well, I'm doing a couple of guest spots on Odd Mom Out.
What the hell is that? A show?
Yeah, it's actually a funny show.
No, it isn't. You like
It is.
You like that show, Girls. I'm not going to take your word
No,
for it.
Odd Mom Out's funny. It's like about snotty white mothers on the Upper East Side. It's pretty funny.
And it's called what?
Odd
So
Mom-
more shit for us blue collar guys, huh?
Yes. Well, it's not exactly. Yeah.
Who wrote it? Sarah Jessica Parker's vagina? Hey, Dan. Andy. The pad, for Christ's sake. Come
Andy.
on, will you?
Yes, Nick.
You better watch when
Yeah.
you talk to Andy. He looks pretty big.
I don't give a
He
shit.
looks like, what's his name from the Packers? The lineman.
What, the gay quarterback?
No, I got to go with
line-
Clay Matthews in, yeah.
Hey,
Clay
Andy.
Matthews.
Yes, Nick.
The board is not my board. Is it plugged in?
Yeah.
Now it is, you fuckhead. 2 days in a row.
That's not 2 days in a row.
Now relax. Anyhow. Yeah, so Colin, I keep hearing on Twitter how much the world needs Tough Crowd, but I try to explain to these guys. I go, Colin doesn't own it.
No.
They keep going, bring it back.
Well, the
and
point is,
do
I
a show.
probably it doesn't matter whether I owned it or not. No one's gonna do it. Do you understand what I mean? So
No,
it's
I
like,
don't. If you did on, no, I know.
I mean, and people are like, why don't you just do it as a podcast? I'm like, because I don't want to do it as a fucking podcast. You know what I mean? Like, what? Just find money and put it up every week myself?
No,
Fuck
I
that
know.
shit.
I did. That's what I'm saying. They don't know how it works. I try to explain.
They're like, you know who would do it? Here's how people go, with political correctness, you know who would do it? HBO. I go, yeah, yeah, sure they would.
HBO. Yeah, who's putting out a new show with Jorge Ramos about hate in America?
Yes.
HBO has to be fucking taken off the air as soon as possible. Seriously. I worked for them, right, for Chris Rock.
Right.
And by the way, we're going to get to the Al Smith dinner because there was some zingers between Hillary and Trump. And
Yeah.
somebody online's like, that's what happens when you have Democrats writing good jokes or whatever. By the way, I wrote Chris Rock's monologues
Right.
with Frank Sebastiano. Hardly
Two
left-leaning.
Italians.
Yeah. I don't know Frank's politics, but...
Well, he's Italian from Nutley, so let's face it.
I don't know.
Although he had the long hair. and
That's
the
what I
beard.
mean. That's where he
Yeah.
confused me, you know?
Yeah, well, that's how Andy is too. He's confusing. On the one hand, you're like, oh, Andy's like a hipster. He lives in Bushwick, but at the same time, he's probably from Wisconsin, like Clay Matthews.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
Merkface?
Merkface.
His dad's 93. By the way, happy
What?
Yeah.
birthday to my dad. 81 years old today.
Oh, happy birthday,
Big Nick.
Big Nick.
Big Nick is 81. God bless him. Right now, he's in the garden ignoring my mother. But
I wish you would tell the Big Nick story about the Melvins too.
oh, no, we're not going to go. This
All
is
right.
politics.
Fine.
The Melvins weren't into politics.
All politics
They were
are
into
local.
banging each other.
All politics are local. I never heard that.
Even at the Nut House in Danvers, the mental institution where I was a groundskeeper.
Just tell the one story for your dad about when he was just walking by. One of them goes,
Oh. Yeah, there was a poor family, and they literally incestuous and mentally ill across the street, and they were poor. And we used to be nice to them because we felt bad for them. My dad gives them an old recliner that we had. It's still a nice leather recliner, it's the nicest thing that they ever had. The next day, I'm helping my dad in the garden. The old lady comes out on the porch. My dad looks up. My dad's like working on tomatoes. The old lady, the one we gave the furniture, she looking at she goes to my father, "What are you looking at, monkey?" To my dad. And my old man, God bless him, I thought he was going to, zing her back, but he just looked at me, shook his head, and started laughing. What are you looking at, monkey? I mean, we were both kind of tan, but that was over the line. Even for a mentally ill woman, I thought that was kind of racist.
Yes.
To be calling us that's filthy talk by her. So about a week later, my buddy Frank Consoli, we spent about an hour pelting their house with the old summer squash and tomatoes and shit in the garden.
That'll teach her. That'll teach the old bitty.
Anyhow, so yeah, okay, so you wouldn't do that again. And plus, I said, it's not going to be the same without Patrice and Greg Giraldo and
Yes.
But you have other things going
The
too.
only thing
right?
that would make it even funnier today is the fact that people would lose their. Can you say the SHI word?
The fuck, this is satellite.
Well, they said F politics, so I didn't know we were allowed to curse.
I confused me too. I played it up at the beginning.
Well, yeah, people would lose their shit if we put that on the air. Every day, there would be, we would trend every day on Twitter, like some quote. How can I say, it would be there would be a national protest against the show, which would be even funny.
Which would be great.
Great.
And would be rich.
Yes.
Would be touring.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I got
Be touring all
gig.
the clubs on the East Coast.
I was going to say, I got a gig in Saratoga next week, so
Yes.
I can't.
Say hello to my cousin Dylan.
I won't do that. The number here is 844-547-3287. 844-547-3287. Colin Quinn is the guest, the co-host for the whole hour, my last hour here. I don't know, the Al Smith dinner.
That's not on the list as the beginning, but okay.
Oh my God, he's doing a lot of inside baseball here. What list? I
Al
know
Smith,
you're right, actually.
Yeah.
Al Smith, I had to Google him. I thought he was a shortstop for the Cardinals.
No, he's
in
a
the
famous.
70s.
He's a famous Irish guy. People say he's a famous Catholic. He's a famous Irish guy.
Well, he's both.
Yeah.
And he was the governor, right?
Yes.
And then he lost to Hoover
Oh, is that who he
in
was?
1928.
Yeah.
So why are we having a dinner for this fucking loser? Is my question.
Yeah, he was the. And you see the guy last night with his Al Smith the Fourth. Hey, how you doing?
The guy with a voice box.
You think he's done a few backroom deals in his day?
The guy with a voice box.
Hey, how are you? Yeah.
He had the trachea thing.
Let me start before we talk about what was tasteful, what was tasteless.
Yes, sir.
Let me start by saying this about all roasts.
Which this wasn't, you said.
Right, but semi-roast.
Yeah.
Well, the fact is, you can't give all the jokes. Every roast I watch, everybody gets every subject up front. So now Al Smith, before these two even speak, he's already killed like 5 big stories with his jokes. So then when you do your joke about the same subject, whether it be...
Who's already killed 5 big stories? You're losing.
Al Smith did jokes about Hillary and Trump before they got on. So he's hitting all those, like he's hitting the WikiLeaks, or he's hitting Trump saying, I won't accept...
Al Smith's still alive?
Al Smith the Fourth. Okay. He was the host. But he's up there like this. But he's doing like 8 minutes of jokes. So already you're off to a bad start.
They stepped all... You're right.
Stepped
they
all over all
everybody's
the punchlines.
jokes.
Yes.
Yes.
Now go on. Now we can talk about it.
No, but you also said, we were talking about this before we went on the air, that you didn't like the tone of it. Because I had heard of the Al Smith dinner or whatever. But I was listening on the way in, and people were sort of throwing it into the category of a roast type dinner. But you totally disagree with the characterization of that.
Well, it's a roast, but it's a Catholic charity. It's like there's the cardinal is there. They're sitting between him, and then they go up, and both of them started out with a couple of good jokes. But
yeah,
like
we're gonna get to them. We have plenty of clip.
But I mean, but they both go start getting serious in the middle of it, and it's like, I'm gonna make my finals. It's like. Both of them were trying to score. You know what I mean? They were just both like, and they just made it ugly.
So you're saying they went away from the jokes that were written for them?
No, I'm saying
because those are the people
maybe they
you
were
should
written
blame,
for
no?
them or not. No, I feel like they both were like, I'm going to make sure that people understand what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, I'm going to get her, and she's like, people have to know what's at stake.
But are you basing that on the jokes or what they were saying?
Well, they did.
The
both of them went way too long.
Well, yeah, because they don't know how to deliver a joke. A joke that should be delivered in 10 seconds.
But not just the jokes themselves. I'm saying they kept talking after they should have gotten off. So it was just that it was an ugly feel. You know what I mean? It was an ugly feel too. It wasn't nice. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna make jokes, make jokes.
You're gonna tell me though, when we do a roast for Jeff Foxworthy on Comedy Central, it doesn't go to the Archdiocese. A lot of the funds.
But even then, we're comedians. Remember, Don Gavin comes out as a priest and goes,
"Oh, that's right." What did he say?
He goes, he's talking about Dennis Leary. He's dressed as a priest, and he's like, I haven't known Dennis a long time. I'm his priest. Now, I'm not a particularly religious man, but
I know he was so good.
So
People
subtle.
Going, who is that? Well, he's
Right.
only the greatest comic in Boston.
And they're like, why is he not the religious man? He's yeah. But anyway, go ahead. But I just thought it was ugly, and it was not funny because there were a couple of both of them had a couple of good jokes wedged in between. just the usual, the things they've said 1,000 times over the course of the election.
I
saw the whole thing.
I didn't. I was, I had more important shit to do. I was watching the Cubs and the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
I was flipping back
The
and forth.
Packers looked pretty good last night.
Let's. Oh, please. He's still hanging on to that wet dream. You got a quarterback who's a little light in the fucking loafers here.
Second half,
Allegedly, I hear that. I don't believe it. I saw how he throws that golf club in the commercial through the window. He looks like a mean bastard.
Yeah.
He's a big Green Bay Packers fan. I know, it's funny, isn't it? He, the power sweep was invented by Lombardi, who grew up a mile from his house. So
that's what it must have been.
Let's go to. We do have some clips from the Roe/L. Smith dinner. Let's go to the first one. This is Trump getting a little zinger in. This is one of his better ones.
And even tonight, with all of the heated back and forth,
horrible delivery by both of them,
between my opponent and me at the debate last night, we have proven that we can actually be civil to each other. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me.
Get to the fucking punch.
And she very civilly said, "Pardon me."
Pause it right there. That shouldn't be the punchline right there. If you're telling it at the pace you're supposed to be telling it at.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Now he's getting the laugh at the setup.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be totally anticlimactic, the punchline.
That's right.
That's not even the punchline of the joke.
Right. He should have walked from there. He should have left it there.
And I very politely replied, "Let me talk to you about that after I get into office."
See how he couldn't follow the...
Right.
That's supposed to be the punchline.
He should have just dropped it at that, but like you said, they don't know.
They don't have the instincts. I mean, they're too busy lying.
Yeah.
Then we have Hillary going after a boy, a guy who I love. Matter of fact, Quinn, thanks to the great Colin Quinn, I got to meet Mayor Giuliani at Gracie Mansion on a St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
I was standing there, and it was my turn to go up and shake. He goes, "Hey, Paisan," I wasn't even paying attention. And I took a picture with him that I've never seen. And I'm like, why? And then, people explain to me, he didn't know who you were. You could have been a drug dealer, right?
Yeah.
Is that why they destroyed that picture? A picture of my favorite politician.
Yeah.
And I never saw it.
Yeah, he's
You
really...
don't have it at your house, do you?
No. He's really gotten the full treatment of being a guy that somehow now is like this terrible, weird... And meanwhile, it's like he's the one person... Even people that don't like him can't deny it. He's the one person in the history of politics that goes, I'm going to change the way this place I'm elected to runs, and he did.
Absolutely.
And nobody has ever done that before or since.
That is absolutely. I came down here from Boston to New York, and it was all filthy. There was trash everywhere and garbage, and I was like, ugh. So much so I moved to L.A. for a year.
Right.
And I think Dinkins was when I moved on. I come back, Giuliani. All the squeegee guys were gone. I couldn't believe there was no trash on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my God, he wasn't kidding.
No.
So
whatever his flaws, the fact that somehow they've made him into this pariah is so symbolic of everything. It's just like when you try to actually do something, you're going to make mistakes. But, and all the critiques. I remember it started when he was still mayor. Suddenly he was Hitler. Remember that? Like 1997, 98.
Of course.
Hitler, they're holding posters, Giuliani said. I remember the whole thing. And I was like, oh, And it didn't help that he had the comb over it. It was easy to make him look like Hitler. But even so, it was just the New York Times, everybody started turning on him because now it was safe to turn on him because he'd already done his work. So then, like, this guy's a little into, you know what I mean? Like, it just became this weird thing. And he sets an ugly tone in this, all this vague stuff. Instead of going, you know what? This guy's done overstepped a couple of things and done like 80 million brilliant things. And nobody will ever say that now. Now he goes down in history as the hateful, you know what I mean?
Of course, because, and we know why, because, like you said, even during his administration, the first thing he did was when he got into office, I'm not talking to Al Sharpton.
I know.
And he didn't.
I know.
So that right there turns off half of New York,
I know,
elites and whatever.
It was great.
And God forbid you didn't hear from Al Sharpton.
I know. Weighing in with his helpful advice every couple of months.
Now he's at the White House with his feet up on Obama's desk smoking cigars because he's such a fucking racial genius. Ugh. So here's Hillary going after boy Rudy.
And look else at the dais. We've got the Honorable Chuck
dais,
Schumer,
that's all right.
the
I'll let that
Honorable
slip.
Andrew Cuomo,
Yeah, I thought that was
the
weird.
Honorable Mike Bloomberg, the Honorable Bill de Blasio, the
dais.
Honorable David Dinkins, and so many other wonderful elected officials.
Unnecessary setup.
And we have Rudy Giuliani. Now,
Yeah, Dinkins, de Blasio, all these great honorable people.
Pause it, yeah.
And a guy that was actually an effective. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
That's what I'm talking about.
I
Am I
know.
living in a different
If
world?
you're because if you're
Help
ineffective,
me.
you should basically, what she's saying is you should be rewarded for being the kind of middle management guy that doesn't ever do anything and just kind of speaks correctly, like these guys, like Dinkins or
That's right.
de Blasio, and just speaks the language. But a guy that actually had some effectiveness, you know what I mean? It's sickening, but go on.
That's exactly right. It's
Yeah.
maddening.
know this, but Rudy actually got his start as a prosecutor, going after wealthy New Yorkers who avoided paying taxes. But as the saying goes, if you can't beat him, go on Fox News and call him a genius.
Got about a 3.
Got about a 3.
Because, like I said, Al Smith dinner is very Catholic. You know what I mean? They're not like, it's not some ultra progressive dinner. It's like a lot of Catholic New Yorkers. People.
Well, you know what? Now you're disappointing to hear that, because later on we play the clips and they're booing.
Oh yeah, but that's a certain segment of the crowd. And like I said,
Well, it
go ahead.
sounded like almost all of them.
Well,
were booing
he
Trump
was
roundly.
going. He went
He's
in
going
bad
where
taste.
the writers took him.
He went in bad taste. Trust me. Wait till you hear it. I listened to the whole thing. And I
When
was
you
like,
hear it, I've heard the joke 8 times. But you're right. I didn't realize it was such a religious element.
they were sitting between the cardinal.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the audience. I didn't know who made up the audience.
Right.
I didn't know it was all Catholic, but I mean,
Yeah, it's like a lot of
because the joke, obviously, and we're going to play it in a second. The Trump made actually, has the word Catholics in it, so
Right.
it's sort of explaining to me a little more why I got.
The whole night was about Catholics.
Here she is tonight, in public, pretending not to hate Catholics.
Why are they booing?
Because it's not a joke. It's sort of like you're just taking.
What are they? They're joke critics now?
No, but I'm saying you're
He's
taking
defending
advantage.
them.
No, but he's still.
Why not?
There's a way to do it, and that way was not the way. He's basically taking advantage of the situation.
By defending them.
No,
from
but
her
that's
horrible,
not.
Her
That's,
horrible
but
two
there's
faces.
a way. But first of all, she wasn't the one that actually said it was the people. But there's a way to do the joke to say it and we all know how much she loves Catholics. That would be funny. People would have laughed. But just getting out there and going to
But isn't that the same
You're taking
joke?
advantage of You're taking advantage of this situation. That's why they booed. That's what I think happened. You know what I mean?
Taking advantage of the situation.
You're taking advantage.
How?
Because when you're
losing me.
it's like.
It's basically.
If you're at a talk show, right? If somebody goes on a talk show and the talk show host brutalizes them in front of their crowd, which happens a lot, it's in bad taste because you're taking advantage of the fact that you have the audience. This person's a guest, so taking advantage of this dinner, which they're like, you two are both going to come. It's for a great cause. Be funny, but don't just make it into a vitriolic. No, it was. I knew it even when he said it.
That's where they take the stand. It's too vitriolic.
Well,
when the joke is defending them.
But you can't. But it wasn't enough of a joke. If he had just said, like I said, if he had said, look, if he had just said, hey, we all know she's a big Catholic supporter, that would have been funny.
That's
but
not a
instead
joke.
he goes, hate. Well, it was as much of a joke as trying to pretend she doesn't hate Catholics. It's just you're taking
disagree.
advantage of the room. You're taking advantage of the room, and he paid the price
You're
for it.
looking at it from a comics point of view.
No, I'm looking at it from
in their head,
taste.
They're going, oh, he's taking advantage of the room.
I'm looking at it from the point of view of taste. You got it when you're given this leeway. You're sitting between the cardinal, you and her, and it's a Catholic dinner. It's a chat. You don't just start saying she hates Catholics and expect the room to go, yeah. It's not a rally. It's a dinner.
It turned into a roast.
That's
so
what I'm
in
saying.
That
It
context,
shouldn't-
they should have been happy after the.
No, I disagree.
Omar, they have too much. You're giving too much credit to have too much. To have too much taste.
No. I'm telling you, I know there's a tonal thing. You wouldn't understand. This is an Irish Catholic thing.
No, that I was going to say. I was going to say.
Irish Catholic people are like, let's keep a little decorum. Believe it or not, still.
in 2016.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen St. Patrick's Day
After-
party here in the city? Yeah, a lot of decorum. I got a guy whizzing on my backside as I'm trying to mail a fucking letter
Well,
with a big crucifix, like he's selling my pillows. That creepy fuck.
we like to have a little. The kids will let off a little steam once in a while, but But I'm saying at a big dinner like that, the Al Smith, this
See
is
that?
like
No, I
the
understand.
creme de la Irish,
No, you
Manhasset, like Irish people from like the good parts of Long Island, and they were like, out there with the dinner, and they're putting up big shell and a big cake. There's just once you're setting up like a trust situation, and he kind of violated that. That's what I'm saying. That joke, saying it that way, not making it a thing about the Catholic. He should have made a Catholic thing. It was a perfect setup. But that joke violated. You're trying to say, hey, look, it was almost like a crowd, like, come on, crowd, let's get her. And that's not a joke. That's not what you do in that situation. If it's all her people,
I did it at the Fat Black Pussycat like 2 weeks ago. This guy was heckling me. I go, look at this retard. Everybody, you hate him? And we left him out of the building. I didn't realize it was such a... the bar was set that high as far as the Al Smith dinner. I thought it was
I thought it was like
the press conference, the thing they do in D.C. with the president.
Yeah, but except it's Irish people. It's Irish New York people. It's the one thing I could
no
just...
Italians in there?
There's a lot of Italians too, yeah.
They were doing security. 844-547-3287. 844-547-3287. If you like to talk to the fucking phones on, I like to talk to the great Colin Quinn. So I didn't realize it was such a big to-do.
Yeah, it's a very big deal. That's why they both showed up. They both showed up because it is like a classic New York thing.
And that was the other thing about Trump. I go, this guy, he did something in the morning in some state, flew to another, and was speaking in Ohio in the afternoon, and then he comes to the...
Oh, yeah, he's like the Energizer Bunny. He never runs out of...
I mean, he just on his work ethic got vote for him.
Yeah, he's never sleeps.
He doesn't, right?
He never sleeps. The only three people I have heard that sleep under 5 hours a night is Trump, Giuliani, and Jay Leno. Jay Leno sleeps like 4 hours a night.
I know.
I was always jealous of that.
I know. How do they
like
do
3 in the
that?
morning, gets up at 7. I can't do it.
I took a Percocet last night.
Oh,
slept like a
we're
drunk
lucky you're
baby
here.
2 nights in a row
Yeah.
now. I told him yesterday to circle the calendar date. I go, this is the date Nick got hooked on Percocet because I slept so well for the first time in 5 years.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I got up, made coffee,
Why don't you just get addicted to Ambien? It's less offensive than Percocet.
No, Ambien makes me psychotic
Crazy.
the next day. Absolutely psychotic. I try to choke up my wife's friend in my underwear.
What was the psychotic part?
Good
That I
point.
kept my underwear on.
Let's we have a little bit more. Let's go to and here comes the biggest laugh I think Trump got of the night, and I'll give you my philosophy on why, and I know you know, but that will be number 7 there. Andy, is it?
Oh, this one's going to get me in trouble.
Andy?
Not with Hillary. You know, the president told me to stop whining. But I really have to
Listen how
say,
slow he's
the
telling.
media is even more biased this year than ever before. Ever. You want the proof? Michelle Obama gives a speech, and everyone loves it. It's fantastic. They think she's absolutely great. My wife, Melania, gives the exact same speech. And people get on her case. And I don't get it. I don't know why.
Okay, that's probably get the biggest laugh of the night.
Good joke.
Yeah, you know why? Melania is the butt of the joke.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always...
the butt of the...
Yeah.
But that's not how people are going to see it, you know? I mean, Melania's the butt of the... That's why it killed.
yes.
I don't get the crowd. I mean, so
That
these are
crowd-
Catholic people.
These are...
Who are they voting for, these Catholics?
These people?
Yeah.
That's a good
Good
question.
Right?
I
and
mean-
it's a tough call for these Catholics.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough call. That's a good question. Who are they voting for? But either way, yeah, I mean, that was a funny joke. And seeing him being self-deprecating is so rare.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was funny. I mean, even when he
I
said...
should try it.
He said that little thing where he goes, I know people don't see me as being whatever, like they don't think I'm capable of being self-deprecating. You know what I mean? Like that was funny, you know. But yeah, that joke, of course, it helps that it was anti, you know.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
I was trying to figure out who the audience was, just listening to the response from the joke. Excuse
But
me.
it's a night you're supposed to deprecate yourself a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I sort of blame that on the writers for, well, I don't know. And
The writers, but like you said, both him and Hillary do the same thing.
They were still in
Instead of
speech
reading
mode.
the joke,
Right.
What they don't understand, and none of their writers tell them, this is how you do it. You don't give your little, like they're both putting in their little asides in the middle of the joke, in the setup, and even after the punchline. It's like, just shut up and get to it. They're both like, and I'll say something else, and I know a lot of you people are thinking, no, don't say that part. Just get to what was written.
Right.
I feel like they were trying to personalize it, and that stinks.
Don't they read Shakespeare? Brevity is the soul of wit. I thought it was Shakespeare. I Googled it today. You know who said that?
Who?
Larry the Cable Guy.
Well, it is true. 3 words that made him a fortune. 3 little words. Get her done.
Get her done. Okay, and I'm not making this up. I'm on a flight about a year ago out of LaGuardia. LaGuardia. It sounds like fucking Lagasse. LaGuardia. And we're on the plane, the runway, waiting to take off, and there was some delay. Pilot goes, we're heading to Florida. All right, he goes, let's get her done. The whole plane went, last thing you want to hear coming out of your captain of a fucking, let's get
I told you my famous.
How famous is Larry the Cable Guy?
Larry the Cable Guy when I was on radio in Albany that time. The time we were up there, and he was on like calling in as Larry the Cable Guy, and I tried to get in touch with him because I was going to tell him, do that thing in small doses. Don't make that your whole character. It's too much. Like I was trying to call him up. I would have cost him millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars if he'd gotten me on the phone.
And you were telling him to tone down the Get Her Done? The hook?
I was going to say, stop making that character, Larry the Cable Guy, your full thing. Just do a little bit in your act at the end.
Well, nobody ever accused you of doing shit for money.
No. I would have cost him $300 million.
Tell the audience your biggest showbiz blunder, one of the roles you turned down.
Oh, that was Austin Powers. When Mike Myers literally called me up and said, fly out. You're the guy. Come on in. You're doing this part, the son.
For Austin Powers.
For Austin Powers. And I go, yeah, I'm busy. And he goes, no, but this will take a few days. We'll fly out first class. Just everything you could. I go, no, I respect it. I have my own script, my own movie that never got me. And he's like, he goes, Kyle, what's the problem? I go, no problem. You do your thing. I'm doing my thing. What's the problem, Mike?
That's artist integrity.
Oh.
And that's what it gets you. A Wee Hop t-shirt. What do you?
Wop, yeah. Wop.
It was folded. I couldn't read it. That's my. But that's how you. But you really do. But you've kept your integrity over the years. You do these great one-man shows, unconstitutional. By the way, on the way in here, how much time we got before we go to break there, Killer? 3 minutes. Thanks. On the way in here, they were playing your whole thing.
Who was?
Satellite radio.
Jeez, unconstitutional?
I think it was. Is the part about the preamble? They were drunk when they wrote it?
Yes.
Yes. It was some of the funniest shit I've ever heard. They were playing it on... Don't you get residuals from this company?
I was going to say, I better be.
That's what I mean. He doesn't give a shit about money.
That better not be
It's like Louis C.K.
That better not be like Bonfire. If Bonfire plays unconstitutional, I want money from Dan Soder and Big J.
No, but just funny stuff. I would have if we didn't have the 9 clips from the Al Smith dinner. I was going to play a little.
Maybe next year we should do the Al Smith dinner.
Can we
show them how it's done?
Apparently I have no clue. I would have done it just the way they did it. Come out with some real zingers. You would have been giving me the finger from the audience.
Short zingers are great.
They're not going to. No, you're right. But I'm telling you, the people who write the jokes don't explain to them how to get to it.
No, yeah, you're right. Totally right. Totally right. And because nobody has time. I mean, everybody's just like, all right, hand this. This is funny. And they're like, okay. And they probably say even, make it your own, but that's the mistake.
Make it your
right? Like, no, you personalize it. Because they're like, I don't want to just be joke machine. People will know. And like, no, you have to personalize it. And then they personalize it by rambling,
I went to, we used to go to the core dinner. What was it?
Oh, yeah, Congress of Racial Equality.
The what of racial equality?
Congress of Racial Equality
Congress?
Dinner.
Yeah, Congress of Racial Equality Dinner. They used to bring us to that.
Yeah.
I have a picture of me and Patrice at a table. It's on my website, I think. It's the classic DiPaolo Patrice. He's looking straight ahead. I got my hair slicked back.
Oh, that's great.
Like I'm right out of Bensonhurst. And I got a furrowed brow. And he doesn't even.
Picture.
My face is a foot from his.
That picture make me cry. I remember how much fun we had at those dinners.
Yeah, Al Sharpton would speak, and Manny would bring us.
Yeah.
So if you people think that we're too with our racial politics, we went to the core dinner. You know what I mean? I had the ribs, and Quinn. Remember the chitlins were out of this world, just tremendous. Talking to Colin Quinn.
It said, "Who wants the chicken? Who wants?" And they go, "Oh, never mind. Everybody wants the chicken." That's what the waiter would say.
844-547-3287. It's DiPaolotics. Back with more Colin Quinn right after this.
Who wants and they go, oh, never mind. Everybody wants the chicken. That's what the waiter would say.
844-547-3287. It's DiPaolotics. Back with more Colin Quinn right after this.
We now return to DiPaolotics with Nick DiPaolo. To join in the discussion, give us a call at 844-5-GREATS. 844-547-3287.
Yeah, welcome back to Politics. How are you, folks? Let me do a few plugs for myself. If you're not doing anything, a week from tonight, October 28th, Friday, at Suffolk Theater, I'll be shooting a 1-hour TV stand-up special at the Suffolk Theater in Riverhead, New York. So come on out. Few tickets left. Great theater. It's going to look great on camera, I hope. I'm wearing a tux and a top hat and a gold watch. It's going to be terrific. I'm reinventing myself. And I have a podcast on iTunes that comes out on Monday and riotcast.com for free. If you like this type of talk, it's not all politics, just right now because of the election. And if you like it, you can subscribe to it at connectpal.com/Nick, connectpal.com/Nick, and you get 2 to 3 more shows a week for $3.99 a month. That's less than $1 a week. So it's worth it. Colin Quinn, let's take some calls. We have, again, the creator of, I think, one of the greatest shows ever on Comedy Central, Tough Crowd. And let's go to, is it Carlo?
Let's go to Carlo in Westchester.
Question. Carlo.
Hey, Nick. Hey, Colin. How you doing, guys?
What's happening?
What's up, Carlo?
Hey, Nick, I got a question. There's an infuriating term out there. I don't know the origin of it, but I hear it every day in my line of work. It's called white guilt. Can you explain that, where it came from?
Now, you work at Popeye's Chicken, right?
No, I'm actually a contractor. And
oh, you're a contractor.
Hello,
Yeah.
Carlo.
I think it came from... Well, you know what? I'll tell you who's better to answer that than me, because Colin Quinn grew up in Brooklyn.
I know all about white guilt.
Larry Fishburne, and he faced this stuff growing up. He had a horrible childhood.
No.
No, go ahead, Colin. What's your shot at that?
The term white guilt that's a good point, but as a contractor, you must hear it from your rich Westchester customers. First of all, let's be honest, Carlo. Let's break you down before we even start. When you say Carlo from Westchester, you're from Yonkers. Yeah. Anyway.
No.
Yes.
No, I actually.
You're not from Bedford. Let's face it.
No, you want to know where I'm from? I'm from Hawthorne, New York.
All right. So it's
a lower class Pleasantville.
Exactly.
I don't even know what that means, but I gotta laugh.
It's so true. What about yeah, so white guilt is like, I mean, I don't remember when it first came out. I think it came out I feel like it was like late 70s, probably some article.
Right after Roots.
Right.
Seriously.
Oh my God, I bet it came out after Roots.
I guarantee you. Alex, the plagiarizer, Haley came up with it.
White guilt, and then suddenly white people were like feeling guilty over the past mistreatments. But I don't know why you hear it contracting up in Hawthorne. That's very disturbing. Like, is it from the white soccer moms?
Yeah, who do you hear it from, Carlo, specifically?
To be completely honest, some of my customers are left-leaning, and
that's what I figured.
Just in their speech, it's just, they feel. I'm like, listen, my parents came off the boat. I started my own company. No one helped me. There was no handouts.
Why didn't you?
I just don't get it. Went to school, paid my dues, did what I had to do, and it wasn't easy, but that's what life is. It's called life. It's not called easy. I don't get it. And when people apologize for being white, I just want to punch them in the face.
Oh no, I hate the apology.
That's white violence.
And the white people say, no, I hate when white people go, these white people. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Typical white guy.
Yeah, they're like, typical white guy. And I'm like, I'm sorry, are you part of Jay-Z squadron all of a sudden? Are you part of the Rough Riders? But but why don't you just tell those people, say, listen, you just said white, you're apologizing to an Italian guy with a flatbed truck outside. Why don't you wake up? You're dealing with here, honey. Hey, honey, you know what you're dealing with, sweetheart.
Thanks for the call, pal.
Thanks, Carlo.
All right, thanks, guys.
Let's go.
Hello, Carlo.
Let's go to Brian on line one. Brian, say hello to the great Colin Quinn.
Hello, great Colin Quinn.
Hi, Brian.
I want to talk about Trump, but real quick on Larry the Cable Guy. He was doing a show up in Poughkeepsie a few years back, and one of the local channels had him on on their morning show.
Yeah.
Right.
He's never out of character. It's the most aggravating thing to listen to. Like, he doesn't just sit there and talk like you guys are talking right now. He's
Right.
always doing his bit. It was ridiculous.
Well, I told you I tried to school him.
Always get it.
Well, do you really want to hear from Dan Whitney himself?
Maybe not.
I love, by the way. I know Danny Whitney.
I worked with Dan opened for me in 1988, whatever it was, when he was just Dan Whitney. He was the middle act.
Me too.
And he was really funny. And he goes like this: "Hi, folks. My name is Dan. I live with my mother and her lesbian lover, Frida." That was his opening joke. And then he goes, and he was kind of quick talking. And then he goes, in high school, kids made fun of me. I was in the band. Kids made fun of me. They called me sissy, called me fairy. I don't care. I love the baton. But I've always felt, and that's how he used to do his delivery.
Anything else, Brian?
But on this Trump thing,
Yeah.
I think he's so unrelatable and out of touch.
Like as opposed to Hillary.
Well, okay, good point. But his making a joke at his wife's expense is what we consider self-deprecating humor for him.
Oh, that's a good point.
It was the butt of a joke. I feel worse for her out of this whole thing.
Right.
He here said, "I'm hot. I can marry a really rich guy," and now she's in the public light, like defending this guy who's like the most misogynistic guy we've.
Well, but let's face it, she's also getting. The only reason she's getting abused is by the media. So let's not act like she's just minding her business. I mean, she's getting hammered. Like, there is a double standard in the sense that they're always like, "Oh, Melania, she's like this Eastern European hooker." Like, that's okay. That's not like, female shaming. But if that was the other side, people would have a heart attack. You know what I mean?
And he didn't write the joke. Probably some damn... Somebody
no, it wasn't a bad joke. No, but he basically point, which is his idea of self-deprecating is, I go after myself. Look, I made a joke about my wife.
I know. That was a great point. Thanks for the call. But he's not the most misogynistic to run for president, okay? I mean, hello, Bill Clinton. Come on, you guys are more. You guys are more
misogynist.
No, because you guys are more afraid of words than actions. That's the whole. This whole thing comes down to.
Well, Bill is. Well, a lot of it does. What about Bill? What
about Jack Kennedy?
Jack Kennedy. But they don't call him misogynistic.
They didn't have that term back then.
No,
they call him a syphilitic Irish fella.
They just the press just ignored it all. They're like, "Oh, there's that secret door."
You're exactly right. Sam Donaldson, they have a picture of him sniffing Jack Kennedy's fingers in the Rose Garden. I just made that up. You don't find that funny, you're going to go off the road right into Pleasantville, hit Carlo's house. Let's go to, speaking of race, and we came up with that stuff, let's go to, she is the interim head of the DNC, Donna Brazile. Nice woman. I see her on the Sunday morning shows. Not the most articulate, and she's running the whole show over there. Well, she was on with Megyn Kelly, and Megyn Kelly questioned her. It was a wiki leak, proving that she had one of the questions before a town hall thing on CNN.
Right.
And so Megyn Kelly has facts in front and starts to grill her, and then I think Donna Brazile shows her true colors, just a blind ideologue.
You say that, Donna. You say that you play straight up, but I have to ask you because you were accused of receiving a debate question before a CNN town hall where they partnered with TV One, and that you had this question on March 12th. That verbatim was provided by Roland Martin to CNN the next day. How did you get that question, Donna?
Well, Kelly, since I play straight up, and I'll play straight up with you, I did not receive any questions from CNN. Let's just be
Where'd
very
you get it?
clear.
Where did you get it?
First of all, what information are you providing to me that will allow me to see what you're talking about? Everybody
You got the WikiLeaks released a March 12th Podesta email showing you messaging the Clinton campaign with the exact wording of a question asked at the March 13th CNN TV One town hall debate.
My name's Megan.
Where did you get it?
As a Christian woman, I understand persecution, but I will not sit here and be persecuted because your information is totally false. What you're telling the American people, Podesta's emails were stolen. You're so interested in talking about stolen
So you deny it?
You're like a thief that want to bring into the night the things that you found that was in the gutter.
What did she say? A thief in the night about a gutter?
I think she was trying to quote the Bible, like the thief in the night. You know.
Oh. Yeah, and how'd that work out?
Yeah,
Donna?
not a very good quote.
And she is the interim head of the DNC. So, you got to admit, Mr. Quinn, the media bias. I mean, we've been talking about it forever, but even if Trump doesn't win, he's ripped the scab off this thing. I don't know how we correct it. That's what I've been asking everybody. Aunt Coulter, and you know,
right.
And so how do we get we break the chokehold that the libs have? They have the megaphone, and they're going to win for the next 1,000 years until you change that. So what do you say? Violent revolution? Is that
what terrorism?
Terrorism? I don't want to do that.
You didn't sound like you didn't want to. I don't want to do that. Sounded like you wanted to.
Well, I'm not going to call it terrorism, just like Obama doesn't. If I'm doing it, I'm not going to call it terrorism.
Yeah, the thing that Trump was not the answer, but
who was the answer on the right? Nobody ever is.
No, but I mean,
is my point. Mitt Romney was the answer, but because he said the 47% crack, that was the most racial thing you could say, and that cost him an election. So who the fuck is the answer on the right?
There's probably it should be somebody. It should be in between. Obviously, you're not going to have a total right wing person running the country, just like having a total
left wing. Why not?
Because it's too.
So you're saying Obama's not a total left wing person?
No, I'm saying that it's bad when somebody from the left or right runs the country. I'm saying it's bad that he's total left wing. It's bad when it's a total right wing. That's not the way it works.
Wasn't Reagan considered a total right?
Well,
here we go.
Yeah, Reagan was right, and a lot of people were very unhappy. So I'm saying it's not like
those people don't matter.
Well, but I'm saying that either way, the reason the media is totally biased is because, like we talked about before, it's not just Trump. It's they use all their anger towards the white male, like he's this symbolic, like he's this rich white male. So it's like they're in a state of hysteria because they're getting everybody's getting their anger out, like he's a perfect symbol of like that cocky kind of, braggadocio, whatever the hell you call it.
Braggadocious.
Like he's a gaseous kind of like he's the perfect victim.
He is Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack.
You nailed it perfectly. No one else has said that yet.
I know.
Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack. Nobody else. All the things I've seen about Trump, and nobody nailed it like you do with that one.
Well, that's when I knew we were in trouble.
Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack.
I knew we were in trouble when I tweeted the picture, and I'm like, this is going to go around the world. 11 retweets. No, it was...
Really?
No, it was,
But it's
pretty good.
It's exactly what it is.
It's right on the money.
He's like this crude kind of...
Yeah, kind of boorish, which I think... See, now I think that is a good combination.
And who's Ted Knight? Mike Pence?
Oh, Mike Pence. Love him. He looks more like a president than anybody's ever...
He looks like... He should be the Vikings coach.
That's true. Put a headset on him. You're exactly right. Defensive coordinator. He's been there 60 years.
But I feel like, you know how I feel. I feel this country should break up into like 6 countries. I think we had a nice run as the United States, and it's time everybody needs to break up.
Well, it's an experiment that's not working because there's a certain people don't want to play by the rules. It could have worked beautifully. Could have worked beautifully, but I'm blaming the jerk-offs like,
But either way, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? At this point, it's like...
I'm not moving to Canada like Amy Schumer and the rest of them.
Moving to Canada?
Yeah, she said she's going to Canada. Don't get all quiet on me. Who else was going to Canada, remember? Why would you go to Canada? If I was pissed off, I'm not going to Canada.
Yeah, but you're from...
I'm going to St. Bart's.
You're from New England where you have a weird relationship. Like, you guys know Canada. People not from Canada, we don't really know it, so it seems like, it's polite. You go up there, everybody's polite, it's clean. You know what I mean? You guys know it well.
It's like a Starbucks in Seattle.
You know it in a different way.
What, Canada? You're right. When we were kids, my parents dragged us up there for vacations.
You know how
it
really is. And to us, it's like, oh, Canada, what a great place.
Where would you go?
Nova Scotia.
That's where my grandmother's from.
I go to Newfoundland with all the Irish. That's where they live.
In Newfoundland?
It's yes, Newfoundland. It's Newfies. They're all Irish. It's like a giant Al Smith dinner, 24/7.
We got enough time, right? About 6 minutes. this woman came out, and again, I'm not playing this. Another accuser came out only, attacking Bill Clinton. This girl, she was 19 at the time, local reporter for a TV station in Arkansas when he was the governor. And again, it's not going to have the impact. Like I said, you got to have the audio or you have to have video, and people get upset today. This is just a lady recounting what Bill Clinton did to her. But why
don't you do it in her accent? That'll have impact. Read it in her accent.
No, I got a clip.
Oh, okay.
I got a clip. It's much funny when they're crying. No, it's the act itself that what he did that I find so odd. That's why this is her. She was in an editing bay, and he came in, and apparently 3 times in the editing bay. The first time he didn't really molest her, but here's her story. Anyway, it's just, I don't know.
It was very small. There was a chair. I was sitting in a chair. He came up behind me and started rubbing my shoulders and running his hands down toward my breasts. And I was just stunned. I froze. I asked him to stop. He laughed. That happened on 3 occasions, and each time it escalated where the aggressive nature of his touch and what he was doing behind me escalated.
You say Bill Clinton comes in. He's touching you, you say, but what specifically did he do to you?
He came up behind me. It's very close quarters. You have to understand that his private parts were right at my neck. I was sitting in a chair. He's touching me on my shoulders, working his hands down from behind, and he starts to hunch me. He did that the first time. The second time, which was probably a week or so later, I did approach him after he did it the first time, and I said, please don't ever do anything like that to me again. It's very offensive, it's upsetting, and I do not want you to do that. He laughed. And the second time, about a week later, he came in. He made a beeline immediately for me. I excused myself, went to the editing room, and he came in behind me, started hunching me to the point that he had an orgasm. He's trying to touch my breasts, and I'm just sitting there very stiffly, just waiting for him to leave me alone, and I'm asking him the whole time, please do not do this, do not touch me, do not hunch me, I do not want this. And he finished doing what he was doing and walked out.
He took out his private parts?
I do not know. I did not see that. I could feel what he was doing from behind me. I do not know if he had taken, private parts out or if he was doing it. I assumed he was doing it through the material, but I could be wrong.
Hey, where are the white women at?
What the hell?
What the hell?
He dry humped her neck. What's he, a rhesus monkey? The hell kind of shit is that?
That's psychotic.
Huh?
That's psychotic. That's just psychotic.
Part of me, it is psychotic, and I would never, but I'm just saying, I'm afraid when I was single and trying to meet a girl, I'd be afraid to, touch their hand.
I know.
Then again, I wasn't the governor of of Arkansas. I was a mediocre running back out of Danvers.
But Jesus, can you imagine? You're 19,
and he's the governor.
He's the governor.
Even I, as an insensitive white male, can understand why that would horrify that woman.
Yeah, no, that's really weird.
And then later on, I won't play the clip because we don't have time. But a few weeks later, he's banging on her door. She was so scared she had her grandmother stay with her at her house. And it's 11:30 at night. He's banging on her door for 10 minutes going, I know you're in there.
Jesus. She had her own house when she was 19?
She was... apartment. I'm sorry. Lean-to. I don't know. Whatever.
19?
Domicile. Jesus house? Christ. I don't know.
But I love it that he's banging on the door. He's really nuts.
And people go, well, he's not running. No, but he's campaigning for the person who's running. So it's kind of related, is it not? Yeah. I don't want to... Sorry to make that leap.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, of course, it's a total double standard as far as what's considered misogyny or whatever.
Can you imagine doing that today? I mean, if you comment about a girl's neck today, never mind trying to bang it.
Literally rubbing against her, and he came.
I know.
The weirdest part.
I did that at Mons Venus in Tampa, where you can touch the girls. There's no liquor down there, but...
Can you imagine that? Here you are. You're in the middle of the editing bay. Not the most sexually exciting place, by the way.
The editing bay?
Yeah.
Depends what's on those things, you know. Who knows what they were watching? I know. It's like doing it in a TV4 van. I got jizz on Jack Scarborough's jacket. Anyways, that's it, folks, for DiPaolotics for the week. I want to thank Jack Vaughn, everybody at Sirius Comedy Greats 94, my buddy Andy Fiore. Andy Flowers did a killer job all week, and all the guys in here had a great time. Go to, like I said, connectpal.com/Nick. ConnectPal.com/Nick if you want to sign up for my podcast, or listen to it for free on iTunes and riotcast.com. And that is it, I guess. Colin, any last word?
I love that you have couches here. This is kind of a cool room.
You're the only one that liked it. Everybody else was like, this is it? I'm like, I don't know.
It's better this way. It's comfortable.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, everybody, and I will talk to you real soon. See you at the comedy clubs. Bye-bye.